Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Friday, January 24th, 2025. Before I jump into the charts like this one, I want to mention that this week, Wicked Stocks put out two stock picks as usual. This week was Coterra Energy and Bloom Energy. Bloom is actually a mid-cap stock. We're looking into mid-caps more and more. They offer more price swings, greater price swings, and we're always looking for at least 20% moves on our stock picks. Both Bloom and Coterra are right on the edge of significant buy signals that should yield at least 20% over the following weeks and months to come. You want to check it out, go to wickedstocks.com, take advantage of our 5-day free trial where you could see both Bloom and Coterra this week, as well as weekly analysis in Apple, daily analysis in the Triple Q and SPY. When I'm talking about the Triple Q, I might as well just remind you that the Triple Q posted a significant buy signal earlier this week when it closed above this channel structure that indicates higher gains as we move into February trade, significant gains as we move into February trade. And this is consistent, of course, with the testing of support a couple of weeks ago in NVIDIA, the upper 120s, the low 130s. That is the weekly chart. Those same structures can be found on the daily chart at 127.05 to 131 even. We're not likely to see that anytime soon, but it was the settlement in the Triple Q, in my opinion, and NVIDIA obviously followed through on the same day. That does support all this, and my recommendation is to check out wickedstocks.com and check out our daily Triple Q analysis. It will help, I think, in maintaining a proper perspective, big picture with respect to NVIDIA. Let's get back to the day itself. I do have 143.94. Now, we do still have that 5/8 Fibonacci at 144.11, which has performed well the last couple of days in containing daily lows, but I'm going to lower it just a little bit on this 1 week channel bottom at 143.94, able to contain session weakness, and above which today we just might actually reach 149.43. 149.43, nothing more than the all-time high settlement price that was put out a couple of weeks ago. But keep in mind that 154.95 channel top has remained a 2 to 3 week objective following the testing of mid to longer term support that played out a couple of weeks ago on the weekly chart anyway, that is now 132.19. Following the testing of the 132.19 rising channel bottom, we've maintained 154.95 as a 2 to 3 week objective, and we've maintained 168.11 as a 1 to 2 month objective, and over the next 2 to 3 months, this 184.13 formation in reach. Now, truth be told, a settlement, and it's not going to happen today, I doubt it, above the 154.46 formation on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, I'd rather you use that at 154.95. So if over the coming week we were to close above 154.95, that is sort of the pull-away factor, as I like to call it. Following the testing of long-term support a couple of weeks ago, closing then above the 154.95 formation is the don't look back buy signal that should within 2 to 3 weeks yield 168.11. That 168.11 5-month channel top, well suited to contain monthly buying pressures when tested. Let's go back to the day itself. Not 144.11, but 143.94 is day support, and above which 149.43 is likely, where we can top out on an intraday basis. If we happen to push through, especially open above 149.43, that 154.95 targeted 2 to 3 week target at 154.95 is in reach today. Perhaps that would be a high volatility move, significant rally today, but it is certainly possible. And 154.95 is a level that can contain buying through next week. And from there, we can fall away. Fall away how far south is difficult to ascertain at this point in time. I mean, potentially back into the upper 120s, the low 130s. But I don't think so. I think that the testing of the upper 120s, low 130s a couple of weeks ago does carry with it a bullish continuation into the upper 160s and beyond as we move into February, March. So once again, 154.95 is a solid area. If you're a 2 to 3 week swing trader and you were bottom picking the market in the low 130s, a couple of weeks ago when we were testing it, at least on the weekly chart, if we test and push into that 154.95 area over the next few days, it is a zone to take profits on that 2 to 3 week swing trade. And you may even consider playing the short side there ever so carefully because we could conceivably fall back. I'm not quite sure how far south. It is possible we could then fall back into the low 130s, upper 120s. But once again, if we close above 154.95, no good reason to be playing the short side in NVIDIA until we push on up to that 168.11 channel top over the following 2 to 3 weeks. Downside today, if we close below 143.94, I expect 138.53 Monday, Tuesday of next week. If we open today below 143.94, we actually could see 138.53 today. And yes, if we close below 143.94, that would be below the lows of the last couple of days. I would then expect, or at least allow for, this 131 even channel bottom by the end of next week. So 143.94 is our pivot point into later next week. If we close below it, you can make a pretty good case for falling back into the 127.05 to 131 even region by the end of next week, where we could bottom out through February and from there round back up to, once again, some variation of that 154.95 rising channel top, which does become, once again, expected into early next week, holding above the 143.94 channel bottom. So 143.94 bullish momentum remains intact into next week. 143.94 is a level you can buy 3 to 5 day swing traders if you haven't already, in anticipation of our 2 to 3 week objective over the next 3 to 5 days at 154.95, where profits can be taken and you could play the short side there. I just don't have prepared for you the 3 to 5 day downside likelihood because I need to see what the charts are showing at that time. Now, downside, once again, 3 to 5 day swing trade to the downside plays out with a settlement today below 143.94. Then you could play the short side into next week, expecting at least 138.53 within a day or two. But I think by the end of next week, we could unwind all the way back into the 127.05 to 131 even region if we close today below 143.94. That 127.05 to 131 area able to contain selling through February, possibly into the second quarter. And, the last thing I'm going to say is that if we did close below that 127.03 level, which is obviously not going to happen today, but if over the next couple of weeks we do, that does indicate a bearish continuation into the 103.92 area and climbing. That's probably a 3 to 5 week downside move, but we're nowhere near that right now. We have tested mid to long-term support a couple of weeks ago, anticipating higher trade as we continue into February activity. Please click like, share, subscribe. Check out wickedstocks.com. Take advantage of the 5-day free trial. You'll see this week's stock picks in Bloom and Coterra Energy, last week's stock picks, next week's stock picks, etc., etc. I'll be back, of course, Sunday afternoon with Monday's NVIDIA report, and you have a great weekend.